Here's Anurag, and he's going to share what we're up to and whatever else you're up to.
Cool. What I was just going to do was another way to share, like here's what we're creating, here's what's now being offered. What I thought I'd do is create a little context around. Sometimes there's the thing itself, but the thing is you know, what's the purpose of it? What's the context of it? So I'm going to create something that gives a little bit of context to everything we've been talking about, and will also be the basis of a new program that Sachin and I are designing. Because I've been working on a long time for many different programs that I've done, delivered, participated in, all those things. That's so sexy, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, that's right. So, so the thing is this, I've been really at work on what have people be, at the source of their experience of life. And so just a really quick inquiry and layout. So mostly what has us do what we do is, and we have an intention to get the most out of life, yes? We want to get the most out of life. That's why we're even here to do this program. It'll help me get the most out of life. And if we see somebody who's getting the most out of life, we have a lot of respect for them, and that is the kind of the level of fulfillment we're trying to attain, yeah? Is getting the most out of life. And so what we're going to propose is getting the most out of life is not going to be the highest state of fulfillment. So let's just see. So consider that getting the most out of life is this world of consuming. World of consuming, and it's a world of gratification. See in there somewhere. It's a world of relief. It's a world of distraction. And it's a world of reacting. And most of our adult life is given in this world. The world of just anywhere between gratification to reacting to things. And quite often, what we're at work on is how do we string moments of gratification frequently and close enough that it actually almost represents satisfaction. What else is possible than living if it's not that, if it's not getting the most out of life? Consider the flip side is creating. And I'll get this a little more explained shortly. It's the world of satisfaction. It's distinct from gratification. It's a world of joy and expression and freedom. So let's look at those for a second. I work with a lot of businesses. I help redesign businesses. One of the first things you can see in everything is when they started, they had this passion. They were a startup. They were joyful. They were creating something. And then something happened. They got successful. They got a lot of money. They stopped creating and they just went after the goodies, spending the money and going after gratification. I'm not even saying don't spend the money, but if they do that and you stop creating, all the energy tanks. Or they got really big, or they got busy and they got too much work to do and they just now they're reacting or they're overwhelmed and they want relief from the overwhelm. All the energy changes in an instant. The moment you switch from creating to consuming. You go to a relationship. You know what? In your relationship at the beginning, you're madly in love, right? You know how magical it is? Do you know when you're sitting there, it's all magical, and you see that other person, and your heart sings, and you think it's really magical. If somebody asks you, why is it so magical, you would say what? Because of that other person. You go, well, that's because the other person is so great, yes? You assign the magic over there. Now, do you ever notice that the other person is still there when it's not magical anymore? It's like, honey, you run out. Do something about that, would you? Right? We don't attend to. It's like, well, they were the reason it's magical. Now it's not. So what happened? Did they run out? No. Consider this. Consider as long as you were creating in the relationship, as long as you were creating, attending to something, bringing into existence something that doesn't exist, it was magical. The magic happens in that you're creating. You were using the relationship as a canvas for creating. At some point, you stopped. Now, you might have been doing it because you were wooing them, or it was fresh, or it was new. You get committed, this and that. Oh, I don't have to anymore. Now you just go after relief or gratification or whatever it is, or you're reacting to them. But it's an on and off switch. You can actually be in this mode for a while, plan a great week in a way you really create it. It's, wow, the magic's back, and you come back home and it's gone again. You can go to You know, a resort. You can go, you know, book a cabin with a bunch of friends. You ever did this? And it was amazing. It was like the best, most amazing time ever. So next year, you have to book the same cabin in the same week with the same friends. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be. Somebody says, I'm like, no, you are coming. I'll call your boss and tell him you're off that week, you know? Because you're like, you think that's the formula. And you all show up there at the same place, and it's not the same. Exactly. And you go like, what happened? Honey, did you not book the magic with the cabin this weekend? Right? Or something. So you're wondering what that is. And it's because you showed up to consume. Right? You showed up, okay, here I am. We know this place is great. Okay, do me, make me fun. And if you create it again, you create it again. But if you don't, it's not going to be the same. You know what? It's what people call the honeymoon period never has to end. When you have a new job or a new project, or you move to a new city, you have a new relationship, it's got that freshness. Why? You come to a new city, you don't have any relationship with your neighborhood or the city, so you're forced to create one. Does that make sense, everyone? Like you have to create it. And while you're creating it, it's fresh and alive. And then the moment you get used to it and you have an existing body of knowledge, rather than continue to create, you start to consume that existing, what you've created, and then you go, and the juice is gone, and it's not fresh and alive anymore. I've done work with people simply as saying, okay, you have to absolutely go to work a different way every single day. And 2 days later, they're like, oh my God, it's like so cool. There's all these things in my neighborhood. Never knew, you know, like they're like, this is so neat. I'm exploring again. But all I told them to do was go to work a different way. But it forced creating. Does that make sense, people? Like it just forced creating. I can take any spot of your life. You can do that. You can actually begin to notice what was so fabulous and magical. You know, I've been working on with this company, this travel, on what creates an absolutely magical trip every time. And I realized that one of the things we have to build in is the unexpected. We have to build in stuff that people don't know is going to happen, or they don't know where they're going to stay, because it literally forces creation. Otherwise, especially today, they look it up online, top to bottom, like this and that. There's like no surprise left. Or they have expectations, and they're met or they're not met. Anyways, the thing is creating a space of creation. So, you know, something I was really looking at, one thing is this, is that of getting something really communicated. So guys, so first of all, there's an entire world here. I get 2 or 3 days, actually we will one day do 2 or 3 days, later this year probably. That what is it to take on mastering this? But not only that, but actually this also behind everything. If we look in, it's one thing to say, oh, I understand the knowledge of the feminine and the masculine. The thing is, oh, if you understand the world of then creating it always, versus do I learn it and apply it? You get they're two very different things. So one of the things is...
So you're creating it, you're not just applying it.
Yeah.
Applying it fizzles, right? When you constantly create it, it keeps it...
Absolutely. So you have to understand. Understand why some of the stuff you learned, it seemed to work, then it didn't work. So one of the things we were dealing with is he's delivered courses, I've delivered courses, we've delivered programs, and then it produces this, and then it goes like this at some level. And there's some sustainability, but it's not... We all have this experience of what it could be, and it doesn't maintain itself. So the program, of course, is like anything else. When it's fresh, you're creating. You notice you sit in the program, a bunch of stuff you're reacting to gets ripped apart, gets either broken down, gets released, whatever, the different ways that it happens. Yes. And so then you come out in this fresh space, and you're suddenly not reacting to a bunch of things. You're suddenly not looking to get relief from a bunch, et cetera, et cetera. And you go out and you start to create right out of the program you're creating. And what we're dealing with now is we're really looking at environment, the concept of environment, and it's all about environment. So what we realize is that then you're put back into an environment that's completely an environment of the past. You're inundated with stuff around you that's the world of consuming. And it's a challenge, and it has some level of struggle. It took something to create the environment of the program itself, which produced the release and produced the breakthrough. And then, so now we're looking at what does it take to create that? Oh, well, actually, first of all that means, the good news is, that means we demonstrated that it's reliable to have an intention to create an environment to produce that and to produce it. Oh, okay, so we just need to expand that.